I'm going to walk you through how I would study if I wanted to score 175 on the February and April LSATs. For those who don't know me, my name is Steve Schwartz. I've been teaching the LSAT since 2005, and I personally increased my own LSAT score from a 152 to a 175. Now, I don't think most people realize what a massive opportunity you have now that Logic Games is no longer on the test. It's been replaced with the second scored logical reasoning section. And so I would recommend focusing at least 2/3 of your LSAT prep time on logical reasoning in particular, since any gains you make in your understanding of logical reasoning will be doubled across the two sections. Now, there are roughly 15 different types of logical reasoning questions, and a lot of your 500-page LSAT prep textbooks overly focus on categorizing questions by question stem type. But the thing is that not all logical reasoning questions show up in equal frequency, meaning some are more common than others. The three most common types of logical reasoning questions are necessary assumption, inference, and flaw. And so I would start there, then save the less common types, like parallel reasoning, for example, for much later, since they show up significantly less often. Now, there are also some really common methods of reasoning that you also want to get crystal clear on as well. For example, confusion of necessary and sufficient conditions, confusion between necessary assumption and sufficient assumption questions, and correlation causation arguments are just a few. You want to make sure that you understand these inside out. You also want to work on your pacing because it's not just about getting the questions right. It's also about getting them right under test day conditions. So you want to do several individual timed sections to work on your pacing, how you allocate your time over the course of the section, and then pull it all together with full-length timed practice tests. Now, if you're watching this video at least a few months before either the February or April LSATs, you still have plenty of time to do several full-length timed practice tests. I recommend doing at least 10 of them before the big day, such that test day itself will be like just another run-through. At LSAT Unplugged, we're not going to let you get stuck in the pattern of drilling questions without ever taking practice tests, since of course, we want you to work on your pacing and endurance as well, which is why we create personalized day-by-day LSAT study plans for all of our students to orient your prep outside of your regular weekly private one-on-one LSAT coaching sessions, so that you have your homework concrete written down, so to speak, so that you always know what to work on. We are removing all the guesswork for you about what to do and when. If you're interested in finding out more, please check out the links below to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. Of course, we don't want to neglect LSAT reading comp either. It is still 1/3 of the test, and don't believe anyone who tells you that you cannot improve at LSAT reading comp. They're wrong. There is always a way to adjust and improve your approach based on how you're allocating your time, the extent to which you are taking or not taking notes, the order in which you approach the questions. For example, I've personally found for my students that those who do the best on LSAT reading comp tend to mark very little or not at all, because it takes time to write things down, it takes time to read things, and there are strategies that we can use for you to help you maintain your comprehension of the passage, even if you are taking few or no notes. We can also look at how you are using or not using the LSAC highlighting and underlining tools, and we can look at the order in which you approach the questions. I typically find it works well to attempt the general global questions first, like main idea, primary purpose, passage organization, best title, tone, author's opinion, save the detail-oriented questions for after that, and finally do the more inferential questions that require a bit more reading between the lines for last. Now, if you've got roughly 3 months before your LSAT test date, based on when you're watching this video, you might take the first month to work on accuracy, drilling questions by type, to better understand the proper perspective from which to view each section and each question type. Save month 2 for pacing, doing individual timed sections, and finally month 3, pulling it all together with full-length timed practice tests. Again, I recommend doing at least 10 of them if possible, so that test day itself will be like just another run-through. Now, if you've got a longer time frame, even better, I might extend each of those areas, again, accuracy with drilling, pacing with individual sections, and endurance with full-length timed practice tests. Of course, you want to take practice tests at regular intervals throughout the process once you've built that solid foundation, so that you can work on your endurance and have a benchmark for your later progress. You also want to save plenty of time for review of your mistakes. Don't neglect it. It's incredibly important to highlight the key takeaways because every question that you get wrong is an opportunity to learn something new, to extract some key insight for what you can do differently next time around. At LSAT Unplugged, we use the Socratic review method framework to help you drill down into exactly what's giving you trouble and why, so that you can avoid making the same mistake on your next practice test. Anyway, folks, that's all for now. Feel free to reach out if I can help in any way. And in the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.